put in two because it's worth mentioning. Alliance's coach, Neeks, also from Ireland. We got him in about a month before I left, so we were working a lot on kind of that transition to make sure it was as smooth as possible for the players. And then obviously we've got Jusu in now as our 5th player. So Ireland's taken over, man. There was a stage where Alliance was a French team, but now it's Irish. We're here.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you also claim Fearoth.
Exactly.
He doesn't seem to agree
Majority
on
Irish.
that. Like
he doesn't need to agree. Okay.
Oh, is that how it works?
When I was the boss,
French,
right?
born in
He didn't need to agree. Now, obviously, James Banks being a part of the team as well, he claims he's the boss or something. So I can't make decisions like that about our players' nationalities. But you know what? The hell with it. But anyways, we're going to take a look at the pistol round. It's underway. Alliance already barreling in towards this site. And you can see the drone used early on. Again, very valuable these days. The swing, the shot, an attempt by Jusu using the dash after as well. They get the info on back site. Now leftovers. Both players on this site, their positions are known. They have a Killjoy rotate in. And Amp, he just goes on through. A big play and a huge opening for leftovers, completely stopping any notion of an 8 push for Alliance.
And that was a fair bit of utility expended. The Viper screen on both sides put in to try and deny the extra space of the opposition. I believe as well there's a wall expended down the bottom. So this is going to be a little bit awkward now. Basically just trying to dry push into some of these angles. They've still got Lucker just about able to deny any sort of peek onto the plant. Of course, you won't be doing that sort of wall in a buy round, as you would be absolutely screwed. But for now, at least, they are going to get into after plant positions.
Yeah, looks like it in a spot now to run down that clock a little bit. Shock darts coming through for a bit of damage in the meantime, and Looker taking down the Viper puts them in a pretty precarious spot. But Lynxy, he comes up huge. The return is there from Alliance, and it's down to a 1 versus 2. Looker, the final remaining player, healing up, but that defuse, it's underway, already more than halfway gone, and they're gonna get it as well behind that wall. 1-0. Leftovers take it with the final kill. Nice start for them in this pistol on Icebox.
Okay, so we're not going to see the OG show of yesterday by the looks of it. We're not going to get 52 rounds in a row for the favored team in the matchups. So. I will say, out of all the matches we've casted so far, I think this one, not that I think it will be an upset, but it has the most potential to be one, because we know the players on the other side are actually like almost like seasoned players of Valorant, which seems a little bit ridiculous. The game's still only been out like just over a year, but they are players who have been around almost since the beginning. So they are no slouches in terms of individual skill, and I think that for Alliance, it's not going to be a walk in the park. At the same time, we're expecting this team to be one of the close qualifier teams to battle through, to try and get through to EMEA, for example. They still need to make this look very convincing.
Yeah, for sure. This is, I mean, being Icebox, especially a map where Alliance obviously took the world by storm. Remember that Liquid game back in the day? God, that was fun. But looking at that, this is a map that we definitely have a very high expectations from this team. The leftovers, they're coming out strong. And in this round here, you know, when they've got these Spectres for the most part, you're not going to want to lose too many of these weapons. You want to carry them through as much as you can. Alliance's job is to just drop as many as possible. Straight away, they lose a player, and they're just biding their time here, hoping that there's going to be over-aggression on mid or A. But it doesn't look like leftovers are moving. They're playing very disciplined.
This is how you want to see a lot of teams play these Antico rounds. Play at distance. It's where you have the advantage in most cases, except maybe versus the Sheriffs. Okay! Hype and Lucker finding 2 quick kills. This is already a successful round, by the way. These 2 kills alone, you consider a success for Alliance. They get a plant, that's extra cash, and then we're really just looking at what they can do.
Oh, the wall.
He's already started to...
Oh, no. Sneaky little wall, man. I love it so much. So they put that wall down so you can push all the way into spawn. You get right up behind them, and they have no idea. And it looks, from some perspective, like you've just thrown it on the fly, right? You're running onto site. You went, oh, I need to cut off an angle. I'll just throw it down. But the intention to it is that you sneak 1 or 2 guys up behind, and that's exactly what won them, at least in those late fights, in taking down Amp. I love seeing that, man.
It's definitely not the round for leftovers, that's for sure. Losing to the pistols, as said, that was basically an eco coming out from Alliance, just a few sheriffs, not really putting much finances behind it either. So it's going to become a little bit more awkward. And for them in this round, at least, it's mostly just going to be pistols.
Yeah, it looks like it. The tables have turned, haven't they? Now we end up with leftovers on the back foot and a very different approach because they're rushing down middle, rushing down A. No more of that slow play. A different wall, again, going to be used up. And look at Fearoth. He's right up behind them. Oh, they're lined up too. And a nice little double to put Alliance way ahead. No upset just yet from leftovers when it comes down to these pistols. And that's quite an upsetting start, really, isn't it, Tom? When you win the pistol the way they did, you get the opening duel, things start to look good for you. And then it crumbles to a 2-1 loss. This can be pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, I feel like it's literally the worst start you can have financially. And unless, I guess, if you manage to lose yourself like one of your bonus rounds or something like that a little bit later on when you're up against pistols, that can also batter you quite a bit. But yeah, this is a point now where the purchase definitely is coming in favorable for leftovers, but it's not a bad round either for Alliance. So they've got a couple of rifles in the mix with all of the SMGs and snipers as well. So they can still put Alliance this round. That's a great start though. Jusu trying to get aggressive, try and take some of that early control over towards B, and instead have just been domed.
Absolutely shredded. Hype is quick to trade it back, but in these bonus rounds, you're gonna see the advantage typically going towards leftovers. But a Marshall shot secures still the man advantage after the res was popped earlier on. Linksy, Goff, they're doing the heavy lifting. They're getting them back in the lead for at least a moment. But with the spike plant down and now the post plant setups from Hype, you know, it can be tough to get the lineups accurately when it comes to that particular plant spot. But the worst part about it is when you're in a 2v2, Tom, it's so difficult to find the space to actually line up properly. So instead, you're going to see this not like the spawn lineups, instead over towards the cubby, where Hype is going to hopefully be able to delay enough time that the clock is the biggest enemy for leftovers.
It's so annoying. He's so annoying. He's put a deep wall, didn't use it to get the plant initially, and then is just throwing slow orbs into it. So it's wasted so much time, but he actually falls. It comes down to the 1 versus 1, and here come those filthy little lineups. First one going over the top, and before anybody can even get close to the spike, the round's already over. They know that this is just not something that can be fought, and Linksy just tries to battle versus Hype at the end. So good in those after plant positions, both Lucka and Hype doing their job. Well, you know what? They won that third round.
Gorgeous stuff. The 3-1 lead. And in the way that they have it, right? Weaker weapons, Marshall's even coming out for some kills. And that was a conversation we had, Tom, coming into this tournament where I was saying I expect the Guardian and I expect the Marshall definitely to be a big feature of this tournament, because when you're looking at buying sheriffs, why in a lot of positions, let's say you're holding the A site, why would you go for a sheriff when you can get that Marshall that have the one-tap potential and be able to hold belt, for example? And it only costs 150 extra. That's pretty worthwhile. Yeah. Embo shut down. That's a big loss to take, because not only was he using up his snake bites, but he's a Viper, so they lose all of that control that they're expecting to have on the solo B player. Now, well, another player caught out of position and isolated. Jusu, I've never seen this level of aggression versus pistols, and he just keeps on going. Oh, that's big. That is big by Linksy. Could have been.
They could have easily lost 2 players there. In fact, they are going to end up losing a couple more. This is at least farming up a few ult points, but Jusu in the end, he stays alive. Sure, his teammates might have taken the brunt of his aggression, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. I do start to question now, Mitch, though, if Alliance are just going to keep going B. Like, this execute with the variations of the screen hasn't failed. Like, it's only been their initial A take, which they did in the pistol round, which didn't go well. I also feel like the A site, to me at least, it's a lot more random. Like, with a lot of the battles you take, I feel like it's still a site that a lot of players will find very awkward to defend and at times attack. But it does seem like Alliance are not just going to go for the same rinse and repeat as they do pressure into A in the early round.
Yeah, but leftovers have changed it up as well, right? They've got that operator to watch B, so now the Viper playing on the A side provides much more supportive ability. Tagged up, though, and now the Hunter's Fury is looking to finish him off. Fading it out for just a second, but Fearoth, okay, he clears the corner. That's valuable. It means Jusu can go up top and take that duel right off the bat. But the trade, it is so quick from Embo. They're back in control, in the driver's seat for the moment. That Viper's Pit providing so much value. The res even going to be able to be popped up because that Viper's Pit's just covering it. Now, leftovers, they're way in the lead. And Alliance are left trying to make a decision on where they want to take things.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them just completely back off. Fearoth is almost just trying to falsify some presence, maybe take a pick before he actually exits the site and just stop them from rotating away. Now, they're going to go pressing into mid, but there's an alarm bot waiting for them, and it's been spotted by Kata. Basically means that they can't go in that direction unless they want to give all the information over. But the fact is, leftovers have already started to adapt. They've realized, okay, we have this Viper's Pit down now. This is going to hold off a lot of the aggression that Alliance want to make. So chances are they will reposition.
Yeah. You take a look at the control given by that operator, the turret giving over the control here as well, the free information, but Goff still falls. That Hunter's Fury gets the tag out onto Looker, gonna be able to heal himself back up, but they still have to deal with this op on the site. They're gonna pop the Viper's Pit, but time is so low going in for it at this stage. Amp could get that looky spam in, but no, the clock was the biggest enemy. There was no time. They were down by a fraction of a second, and leftovers with a really, really nice round. I love the early round adaptation. Right from the start, you saw they identified, all right, I'm having a lot of trouble holding B. Alliance are putting a lot of pressure. How do you counter that? Put your jet there with the operator. Now you have a stronger A-hold as well if they decide to go back there. Plus the Viper's Pit that was held for the mid round. Really gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, I think as well, I question if they ran out of time almost purely because they were waiting for their own Viper's Pit to go down. So just wanted to make sure that the plant was safe. As we sort of saw, there was a real chance for the shot to come through and deny the plant anyway. And maybe some slight mistiming there from Alliance. Not going to catch them too badly in this round, though. Jutsu just does it alone. The jet entries into the A site, the brawl with 3 defenders here. And as of right now, it's left all onto Lynxy. He's at least found one, but he's tagged low. A second kill really isn't bad in that sort of scenario. But still, Alliance have a huge advantage of Fearoth. He wasn't expected that far up.
Sneaky beaky like. Now we're down to a 1 versus 3 in Alliance. Well, they are locking this one down. A hiccup in the previous round, losing to the clock, but now they ain't stopping. And you notice this a lot. So many people have said it to me, but you see that wall on the side? It's green. Part of it goes green sometimes, and I don't get it. I don't get why it happens, because I hadn't seen it, but I've started to see it in the last 2 days or so. People have said it's something to do with Viper, but it's happened when Viper's not even playing. Like, why is the wall green?
Maybe you just want to see it green. Maybe it's like that dress that was either gold
or
whatever
it's definitely green. One chunk of the wall was green, the rest was blue.
Sure?
I don't know.
Maybe you're just seeing things.
I don't know if you can be colorblind
it's like when
for
people say
one part of a wall.
It's like when people say that your eyes are different colors. Like, they're the same.
They're actually just gray. I don't know what people are talking about. Oh, man. But yeah, like 5-2. And the context of the round so far, there was that one really solid round, which involved a lot of heavy commitment from leftovers. They use a res, they use a Hunter's Fury, they use a Viper's Pit, and they get it off of time. Now, with the exception of that round, they have a pistol. Other than that, the buy rounds have been swinging to Alliance, and so we need to see that big change coming. And 3 players towards the B site, that's certainly a bit of a change. Problem is they don't exactly have the strongest of weapons, let's say.
Yeah, once again, Jutsu, his job is just to make as much space, but he actually gets taken down by a classic. The Guardian here as well, but it's shot straight through that smoke. It's going to give one away. With the res available, Alliance can at least stabilize the round a little bit more, and Fearoth just got a kill with a shot dart. He's here, another player with one as well. He's just looking to do it all with utility.
Someone's been watching Average Jonas, and then actually Sage is trapped in that corner. You've got a snake bite that went down to combine with the shock dart that barely missed. But if that player was standing slightly more to the left, he was dead. And these are the sort of executions that we want to see. I think that we complimented OG for yesterday in combining this utility to clear out all those dangerous angles. Speaking of which, Lynxy in this corner, he's in a very dangerous spot. One with the Sheriff, but that could be enough. That gives leftovers the opportunity to go for this. Speaking of opportunity, opportunities. There's another given over. Kadavra falls and Fearoth has to clutch it all out. The 1v2, he's up above and hearing these players. He knows where both of them are, but that lockdown, it means he has to push, and the operator is trained on his position, waiting for him to peek. The recon gives away exactly where he is. A wide jump and almost a 2K, but Goff is quick on the Guardian, closing this one out and putting 3 on the board for leftovers.
A ridiculously close round in the end, and actually a lot more committed by Alliance. Like the res put into this round as well. This is a huge victory coming up for leftovers to be able to steal this one away. So realistically, sure, it comes down to an attempted clutch by Alliance, but have to look at what they started with: a single operator, a Guardian, and then just pistols. In fact, the first kill came in off a classic, so not a bad round at all. Now, the worry for me so far is the way that the operator has been utilized by AMP. It's not been great. Like, we've seen him get aggressive over onto B, and then they've stacked up on A, and the stack didn't manage to hold onto the site. Alliance picked them apart, or Jusu picked them apart, more importantly. Now he's going to switch up to the A site, and they're actually going to try and stack into B in the early round, and we'll see if those 3 players will be able to hold it down.
And the wall, the orb taken. I like this sort of aggression coming out from leftovers. The reveal's also going to guarantee that nobody pushes up close and challenges Sage, letting him just put himself into a nice comfortable position and slowing the round massively, because Alliance still want to push into this B site, but they're gonna have a pretty tough time in doing that now that all these angles are completely open. And look at what they're able to do. Sage takes the first fight here, manages presumably to take 1 player down, and then your Viper is going to be swinging up from on top of the container and taking 1 or 2 more down. It's a beautiful contact play, and let's see how it works out. There's the swing from Embo. The follow-up was connected, and no return from Alliance. Man advantage now for going to leftovers off the back of a pretty nice setup.
It seems like Alliance's plan is still to try and pressure into this B site. They at least traded out one of the aggressive players, and they are going to eventually get the control. Now, a counter screen being put down again is going to make things more awkward. Holding on and defending the planter might be a little bit more difficult, and more importantly, it's going to be very powerful for the retake, even putting down a few snake bites. And you might think, okay, well, it's just a snake bite, not going to do much damage. But now we start to see the screens forward. It leaves players out in the open. Lynxy already managing to pick off height, and it leaves just 1 man standing. The new man on the block, 5 seconds and an operator in hand. No chance.
No, saving it is probably the best outcome. And Ambo makes sure that's not even possible with a 3K and a 4th round on the board for leftovers. We said that they'd been shaky. Yeah, they won that round off time with a lot of ultis. They won the pistol, but now they're starting to really answer up, coming in on low buys, coming in on rifles, and making this a very competitive game, which is necessary. When you allow Icebox through, you're playing against Alliance, a team that's known to be pretty damn good on this map, so you better have your preparation done. And for now, it looks like they definitely do. Lynxy delivering the performance that we were kind of hyping him up to give.
Yeah, they definitely look solid. And I like the fact that their defense at the moment is looking incredibly dynamic. Like, there hasn't been a setup where I've been watching leftovers and thinking, oh, you know what, they're just doing the same thing again. Like, oh, they're just rinsing and repeating these same strategies. They're more than happy to try and risk retakes or put players into certain positions to try and set them up. What it does leave, though, is occasionally an opening or 2. And right now, that's going to be Jusu just diving straight into Embo. And unfortunately, what we noted in the last round of their retake being much more plausible with the screens, well, they can't do that now, Mitch, because he's dead.
Yeah, that's not ideal, we will say. And when you see those sort of, I don't even know how you would define a play like that, Tom. There's many adjectives
Crazy.
You could use. Yeah, ludicrous. Wall down, peek in, and Goff down.
Maybe bold.
Bold, yeah, because you can read that whatever way you want to. But for Alliance now, man advantages are there. Leftovers could think about going back and going for a save, especially with all this post-point utility still online. You've got Hunter's Fury, you've got snake bites. You hear another snake bite currently on its way over. The time, it's basically not there, and it feels like committing to that in the 3v5 with the clock against you is just throwing weapons away for the sake of it. And we're left into AMP. Oh man, he's really not having a good day with this operator. They're hunting him down as well. Tag to 44. He's going to go to the ghost and fall as well. A very valuable weapon taken out of their hands in the last seconds.
Yeah, I don't like to harp on an individual player, but how many rounds have we now seen the operator? I want to say like at least 4. I think he saved it a few times. I genuinely think he's had 0 kills with it. Which, yeah, sure, everybody has a bad day, but on the defensive side especially, if you're bringing in that operator, it's such an expensive gun. Even still, like, sure, it's not as expensive as it used to be. It's still very expensive, and the impact it's had has been null and void. So back to the rifle it is. Financially might be a better decision, but we'll see if AMP can actually have some impact in this round.
Lamb's tucked up close and ready to peek, but so is Cadavra. It becomes a waiting game here on these mid plays. Who's going to be the first one to give it away? To step that little bit too far. Watching for the B push as well, making a lot of A control. The whole play here from Alliance is to bait out rotations and aggressive pushes, and there it is. The reward is found, but Lynxie and Embo, they've answered up to make sure the advantage stays to leftovers.
Oh, this is going to become very awkward. The sneak through manages to find one back, but actually it's Lucka. 2 quick kills. The res keeps things even, but he has one of his own. And, well, the value of him continuing to frag definitely being shown. The Empress popped as well by Cadavra, just trying to hold off the rotations while the plant comes through. Has the ability, of course, to smiss out of there if he does manage to find a kill. But for now, at least, it seems like they're just trying to break through the ice wall and garner a little bit of extra space.
That it does. It's all about rocking down that clock at this point, and as leftovers want to make sure that the clock is their biggest friend, they end up losing pretty much their entire team in a matter of seconds. 7-4 we go. Alliance, they are rocking it on the attacking side. But again, like the attack of Icebox, this has always been something that we've known Alliance were strong on. If leftovers walk away with 5 rounds, I think they're in a really good spot. The biggest shame for me, though, is the fact that AMP at the moment, like, I don't want to be calling people out, but 2 for 9. He's had an operator a lot and a lot of opportunities to take those early duels. It just hasn't gone his way.
I think as well you have to go on to the other side. Like, you expect like Jusu, Cadavra to be the 2. I feel like genuinely when it comes to players on this Alliance roster, Lucka is probably my favorite. Not only because of the fact he's currently doing so well individually in this game, but man can play any agent. Like any. I'd be happy putting him back on Jet like he did originally when he was back in NIP. Like, the man just can do anything. Right now playing a Sage. I'm sure later on we might see him pick up the Astra as well as we switch maps. I don't know, it's pretty, like, I feel like Banks did a pretty good job there, you know, with the pickups.
Yeah, it's one thing about Looker. You can literally put him in any position. His question is always going to be, what do you need me to do? Not what can I do? Which is
your favorite should be Fearoth, but I understand.
Standing ahead.
No, my favorite's Jusu because, you know, Fearoth keeps telling me that he's not Irish, and I don't know why he lies. Oh, Jusu in a bit of trouble there. AMP returning it through the cloudburst. And now Alliance pushing forward with some significant man disadvantages. Fearoth wants to pull that back, thinking about popping some shock darts through, but it's the recon on backside that's going to garner a lot of information for them, keeping these players underneath the balcony. Cadavra, little bit of a whiff, but it's a 2v3. It's still perfectly winnable at this point. You can see Sage rocking around, looking for a little bit more with that Sheriff in hand as the plant comes in, but the flank is underway. Oh, no! Leftovers are coming up and hype. Oh, he has been really wrecked on that timing, leaving it to 5 rounds for leftovers. And Tom, I think you're a little bit ahead of us by the looks
that
of things.
Seems like a you problem, I'll be honest.
I'm gonna refresh and see what it does for us. It's 7-5 at the halftime anyways. Well, let's do a little countdown here. I'm at 41, 40, 39. Yep. Okay,
yeah,
sweet.
bang on.
Perfect. We're in sync.
Maybe I've just got like a 6th sense. I just knew that was coming before it happened.
Well, no, he still had his gun out, staring at the angle when you went, oh, so I sort of.
Yeah, I just knew.
You just
like,
knew.
Oh,
he's gonna take his. He's gonna take his orb out.
He's gonna switch.
Yeah. You know Hype really well. What's his full name?
John.
John Bismarck,
Smith?
I think, something like that.
I think. I don't know. I'm a Lithuanian fanboy. Of course, I actually know it, but I would need a few seconds to like go on Google and just search it.
Lithuania or Lithuania?
Lithuania.
That's one for the Lithuanian CS fans out there. Cadavra.
What you mean the elite team? Yeah.
The elite. The boys. Cadaver's in a little bit of trouble. Tagged up. Obviously, when you're playing as Randy, you're going to be able to heal yourself. You just managed to do any damage to somebody. Not an assist, just 1 damage within 3 seconds of them dying, and you'll get a little orb to heal yourself on up. The plant coming in straight away, and a very quick and pointed round from leftovers, as they're able to now go and play post plants, having burned up very little utility.
This is definitely going to be an awkward one, although not a bad start. Fearoth will be able to pick one up. Here comes the afterplants, though. This is what we expect. They're already going to be able to get it halfway before anything really comes through. Hype also manages to get one on the other end as well, so this becomes possible. They can get someone else on the defuse, and I don't know if there's going to be anything there to stop it. The wall denies them getting back in to deny the defusal, and oh, that became very awkward. Goff, I think, gets a bit lost as well.
A little bit. The wall taketh and the wall giveth away. That's the problem with it. The fact that they're able to get in there and get themselves the plants, but at the same time, it's going to lose you the round sometimes when your opponents still have theirs. And that was the point I was making, right? That these guys, they were in a position where they can get the plants so early on, but they haven't baited out any of the utility of their opponents. And when you're playing against this composition,
3 Ares.
It can hurt. Have they? No, they haven't.
I think they have. Now I remember hearing you talk about the Ares and hyping it up quite a lot.
It's a good weapon.
I'm expecting big things. Now, I know there's some pretty cool wallbangs. Yeah, they have. They've got 3 Ares. I've seen at least a couple of them already. I think Hype might have one as well. So yeah, just going straight up for the wallbangs. It's something we've seen people do previously with the Odin. I think it was actually Guild who might have done that. I think it was Safe was using the Odin to wallbang people while they were trying to plant. Instead, they're doing it with the Ares in some of the earlier rounds where players might not have armor, for example. That's not a fight that Juice is going to be happy about losing, especially not from there versus a Frenzy. But that's the thing, though. Like, I'm talking about the Ares. I'm talking about like how they probably won themselves the round. But realistically, 2 kills when you've only got pistols is actually pretty good.
Oh, they're in a good spot. I mean, one of those kills is onto a Ghost, so it's not insanely valuable. But taking down, I think it was a Spectre. Well, I think it was an Ares, but I presume that will be saved over to get a Spectre. You have a Sheriff that's able to be dropped over by Fearoth. It's going to be a bonus round here that isn't horrendous. But at the same time, you definitely don't want to be playing any games with the economy in this meta. It can be pretty tough.
Nine to 5. Converting their pistol and obviously stealing the one in the last has given Alliance a bit of a buffer to play with. Juicu actually going to go straight in for the Operator as well. It means he has a piece or 2 of utility missing based on actually how expensive Jet's utility now becomes. I think it's the most expensive of anyone now with if you buy absolutely everything. Push from Kadabra though, and that's a freebie. He's going to be able to dismiss out there straight away.
Amp showing up in those early duels, Tom. It's what we've wanted to see the whole time. And now we're getting it, of course, with the... Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Did he just break the wall and headshot him with the second bullet? Did I hallucinate there, Tom? Is that what happened? He's actually just went, oh, I'm just going to break the wall and got a kill randomly. I guarantee he didn't even mean to do that. He's thinking, where the hell did I get a kill from? What? Wow. Well, that's taking wallbang to another level. 1 versus 3 up in hand, and well, Fearoth is going to be, I guess, hoping to save this one at this point, but I know Fearoth, he's going in. He's seeing if he can find a little cheeky kill and pull it off in the end. He knows that player hasn't retreated and so must be on site, but the flanker, Goff, the one that could end the day. The barrel, he saw the barrel, but it's so hard with that X-ray to realize that at the same time. They won't expect him to have snuck through to this position. He is behind enemy lines at this point. Not the best with an Operator having to clear these angles, and he's suspecting this to be a full-on post-plant setup. Making the right call to move towards the spawn.
Oh, he's going to hear the steps. I think the best case here is he gets a kill and gets away with the gun. He might be able to get a second, but Amp comes around the corner a little bit too quickly, and he could take the Operator by the looks of it, especially on the attack. Not really something you necessarily need, so... Not ideal. Of course, that was still somewhat of a bonus round, but I think they might have been expecting Juicu to get an extra couple of kills if that didn't go right, and maybe have the chance to go for the Blade Storm. Instead, he now basically has nothing for this round, unless Fearoth is going to be almost saintly and give him over a weapon.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where this one goes. 1.8k. They're dropping something, and yeah, you're going to see Jusu playing in with the Spectre. But at 6 to 9, Leftovers are in a position where they're starting to get back on the board. They're pulling things into their favor. And now that the weapons are decently advantaged towards them, the only problem here is they've spotted 2 players. They're going to expect one to be up on belt with that kind of control down below. So now you know majority of their forces are towards this A side. Excuse me, A side. So what's the reaction?
Oh, it looks like the reaction is to continue on going. That is one hell of a dart to get so much information, but it just doesn't matter. They found out where every single member was, bar one, but they didn't get any of the kills. It is a slaughter on the A site as Leftovers are going to be able to just wipe down the remaining players. Hype might just have to try and keep this weapon into the next round, but that's going to be easier said than done, because at this stage, Leftovers can start hunting down these guns. They've kept things relatively clean. They're starting to build up a decent economy. And Hype's got to be careful as he runs away. Just accept his fate. Not even going to turn around. Knew he was dead. What a round coming out from Leftovers. That was a purchase as well from Alliance. And something that we sort of half mentioned. Yes, the attack is good for Alliance, but the attack for most teams in general on this map is going to be the favored side. So if anything, looking at things now, I might even put Leftovers in the driver's seat.
At 7 and 9, momentum in their favor, looking good on the buy rounds in the attack. Hell yeah. They're going to be, as you said, right? You're coming in with pistols for Alliance, pretty weak buy. They're going to be on 8 rounds, 1 behind, in a very, very comfortable position. And Alliance are the ones now that are looking for the errors. They're looking to patch up those holes. Hype, going to be baiting out early. You expect to see the Viper here, especially with the wall. But what they don't know is there's 3 players behind that Viper. This is a full-on stack for the B site with Jusu pushing up A slowly, and it looks like Leftovers are about to walk into it.
Start from Cadaver though. Already going to pick off one. That snakebite into the corner. It's going to do so much damage, and it forces both players out. Embo getting a double kill almost instantly. Sure, it was a stack from Alliance, but the good utility usage from Leftovers has picked them apart. Oh, we're going to see the backlines checked. Very wary of the aggression that will be coming up. Of course, Alliance are going to take risks in this round. It is pistols. You don't just want to run the same strats. Then you're relying on just individual skill without even the extra utility to go behind it. So not something we're going to see Alliance doing. But the fact is, I don't think they really know where this push is going anymore. After hearing the owl drone go back behind them, it's going to put doubt in your mind of where this push is coming.
30 seconds left.
That's the idea, right? With Hunter's Fury still online here for Alliance, there could be a bit of trouble brewing. There's the recon perfectly placed, but it's returned on the other side. Now the information swinging towards Leftovers, but they lose one. Hype able to get the ultimate online. Viper's pit popped. A little bit of control towards the middle of site. They can even get onto that spike at this point, especially with the orb there. Embo, oh, he's up close and he's seeing the barrel. A free kill as Firov barely emerges from the smoke, and it looks like Jusu wants to pursue, wants to go on through and find one. Oh, there we go. Beautiful, but Embo quickly reacting and getting that one done. And despite their best efforts, it will be Leftover walking away with that 8th round. Big commitment, though, because we talk about that round as being pistols, Tom, but man, Viper's Pit was used up.
Yeah, no, investing quite a bit into that round to try and at least do some extra damage. I think as well, like, this is where I just want to give credit over to Embo. I think in these sort of rounds, it's so important to make sure that you're still using all of your utility properly, even though you know, based off the fact that you can see your opponent's economy, that they're not going to have invested a massive amount in this round. He was still very thorough to make sure they cleared all the angles, and as I said, his utility at the beginning turned it from being quite a shaky round into much more of a convincing one.
I can tell you there's someone in chat that's not going to be happy with you saying that, Tom. You're on the bad books.
I've already seen it. I want to know what makes Bank sweat more, this game or the fact that England are currently 0-0 at halftime.
He's not having a good day right now, is he? I'll tell you who is. It's good old Embo. We'll see what he's able to get up to, but it's Sage opening this one up. DH in with the big kills. Jusu not deterred, but dealt with. And Leftovers, this is the buy round they needed to swing into the lead, and it looks like that is what's going to happen. It's a 5v3 Alliance on the back foot. Quick kill by Hype. A snakebite, a risky one deployed out in the open.
Watching this location.
But he's buying time for his teammate to rotate over. My God, man. Hype's peeking these guys with snake bites in his hand. Doesn't give a damn. Trying to keep that spike on the floor where it currently is. And now they've got 2 players to defend it. What the leftovers do? Fall back all the way and try to take these duels. Fight for the spike. That's the name of the game. Oh, Hype, what is that? Oh my God, all 4. And the Hunter's Fury used up, blindly firing, looking for a victim. Nothing found. Ab, a player who's been struggling so far, now has it all in his hands. An absolutely massive play by Hype that puts Alliance back in contention for double digits. The spike will be planted, and it's all up to Fira to make this retake work.
Planted.
Still got quite a long way to rotate as well, so it's not going to be the easiest clutch, and working out where Amp is currently sitting, that's going to be even tougher. But it's for both players. He has to try and work out where Firoth is coming from, but probably running along like an elephant might give it away a little bit more. The timing almost gets the better of him as well. Amp in the corner with the peek out from Firoth. I don't know if he spotted a pixel of his opponent, but he seemed to know exactly where he was at that last second. Sure, it's the 1v1 clutch for Firoth, but how Hype gets 4 kills from that position, I will never know. I don't understand. Like, he was almost stood out in the open. The second player even knew he was there. And as you said, half the time he was peeking with snake bites in his hand. But, you know, it seems like we're in Viper's world at the moment. Embo, the top of his team, Hype, the top of his team. Both players looking incredibly strong and making this map very enjoyable.
Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, Hype 18-10 at the moment. A Viper. There was a point where there was conversations around Hype going on other agents, but Viper, he just looks so damn good. With the time and to learn all the lineups. And well, speaking of Viper, Ambo, player we highlighted in the last round, starting it out, he's just been picked off straight away. Jusu dealing with him in the early stages and putting the man advantage onto Alliance. At this point, at 10-8, that previous round was so important. If they clock this one up, that could be the map under their belt. The pressure is on for LFO. The shock darts are on their way, and it looks like it's not really going to matter that they've put down...
Oh.
Jonas is not going to be happy with that one. That's one of his lineups for sure.
Well, it hasn't worked. That's the case, and this makes things a bit more awkward for Alliance now, as they have to go for a full retake rather than being able to hold on to the control. This means that leftovers have actually got themselves into some pretty strong afterplant positions, already trading 2 for 1 in the retake. Leaving the remaining couple of players. Hype might need to go big again, and this is where all of the afterplant utility, it should just make things impossible. The Hunter's Fury already expended. There's no snake bites this time, though. So once those dissipate, they can start trying to bait players back in. And Hype again is going to find himself a couple. The problem now, though, is the timing. But he gets the 4th. This man is playing unbelievable today, Mitch. Dear Lord.
I don't have words. I don't have words to follow that. What else can we say? Hype, another insane round, man. I'm counting them out of that from the get-go. 22 for 10, back-to-back 4Ks, and 11-8 leftovers. They're in the dust. They're behind. Oh, God. How does he do it, man?
Who's your favorite player now? Good question. Good question. In this map, I think it can only really be Hype. I don't think there's much else to say, but damn. Yeah, he's having an insane performance. Amp. Again, he's struggling a bit. He's not going to be able to find anything. Hype even just goes into the open and just goes, oh, you want to come to the A site? No, thank you.
Not today. Not today. That is massive control. You know, we talked about the Viper's Pit earlier on. Looker. Come on, man. This isn't matchmaking. Look at these angles they're pulling out, man. Up on top. That's an Ares, right?
Yeah.
And the skin throws me off. He's got an Ares on top of the wall in mid, and they don't know. They're being baited by Cadaver right now. There comes the spam. She's toe tapping and dealing damage. It's disgusting. It hasn't worked out in quite the way it could have. But Alliance... Are they going aggressive down after this? There's shock darts, there's recons, but okay, they're slowing it down. I could see someone pushing mid and giving it away. And at the point where leftovers have decided to go back towards the Viper's Pit, you know it's desperate times.
Recalling my box.
Yeah, and well, you've mentioned time a couple of times now, but 30 seconds left. They have to make a move. Hype is also the man in this corner, using extra utility just to delay them. Goff does manage to find Kadabra, though. He knows exactly where he is, so this should be an easy trade kill. 20 seconds left, and he's still lurking within this Viper's pit, just about managing to survive, and is knocking into his opponents, bumping into each other. Now it's up to the Ares to hold the site, and Lucky gets 2 kills with it. What is this round?
Ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. The takeaway for me, because at the end of that is chaos, but I really think Leftovers did a fantastic job. And I'll tell you why. Goff clearing out that Viper's pit with his utility. He uses his alarm bot close, his nano swarm left side. Now they know, because the teammate had already pushed in on the other corner, the only place that he can be, I don't even know what you'd call it, like as you entry through A, like on the right side. They knew that Hype had to be there, and yet he's able to fall back on site, delay them with a snake bite. He dies, and I'm thinking, okay, that's it. Leftovers, they countered the Viper's pit. They've got the site control. They've done it all. And then...
Why is everyone playing the Ares?
The Ares is OP, bro. It's what it's all about. I told you. I told you. You didn't believe me. You laughed at me.
What is about to happen? What is he about to just play some sort of headshot angle? This is so weird. You got Lucker lurking around. He's gonna get taken down by Am. It's actually going to come down to the Ares again, and the wraparound is so perfect. Kadabra managed to dissipate, get himself back into the corner, but DH closes it out. This time, there's going to be no shenanigans for Alliance, unless...
Spike planted.
There's 4 players, and there's Hype. You guess what happens next. Oh, no, it looks like they're playing that little bit more passive around this one. Jusu looking for an opening, but... Oh, there it is. There it is for free. They drop down the kill. Now they can kind of go for this, but it looks like they want to fall back and save. Again, Viper's pit and the time that's left in it, it's just not going to go your way 9 times out of 10.
I'm disappointed. I guess once Jusu gets the kill, Hype goes, well, if it's not 4, then I'm not really interested. So he's just like, who wants a 3K? Like... This is not up his alley, so he's just going to hold on to things. But yeah, I feel like it's sort of what I said earlier in the match. The B site, a lot of the time, when you have those proper executions, it feels like a safer option, whereas the A site is just chaos, and we've just seen the 2 sides of the coin. Last round, it goes in Alliance's favor, with Lucker being able to find a couple and delaying the time enough, also playing around the Viper's pit. This time, very similar scenario, and just the battle's going completely the opposite favor. Now, if I'm Leftovers, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, because you lose 1 round, if it's 50-50 on A, maybe you want to make a play in the other direction.
Well, Tom, I think you might be right on that, because I'm seeing a lot of red outside the B side, and that puts pressure on our guy Hype. He's got to be doing a lot if he gets pushed down, and instead he's putting his wall in and then falling back all the way, starting to play a bit more passive, giving up a lot of the control. And Jusu, oh, he has just ran all the way through A, got the control, and cut off their flank protection. There is an alarm bot there, but they don't know if these guys have pushed all the way through mid at this point. Commitment to B is pretty much their only option, as they've left it too long. Plant will be attempted and successfully found, and now all they got to do is play the post plants, and they've got plenty of utility with this comp to do so.
Yeah, from here on out, this should just be easy for Leftovers, realistically. Like, it's a weaker purchase. They've got all of the after plants available to them. They even have a res if they really needed it. What? Hype and Kadabra both finding kills. I thought for a second Hype might get another one. They've already got someone on the diffuser, and just also has himself the operator, but he's not going to connect the shots, and eventually it comes down to just 2, but that was way too close. They even had to invest the res as well.
Yeah, we're talking to 50-50s. I can only imagine for Leftovers at this point, pressure's feeling pretty high. When you've got a weak buy like that and Alliance still come out with 3 kills and a very, especially with the way that the round started.
Well, it was 4, wasn't it? Because they used the res.
Oh, it was 4. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, leaving 2 players alive as well.
Kadabra alone got 3 with a sheriff.
When that happens, man, you're starting to really question yourself coming into these final rounds. Leftovers have to be flawless for the next 2, get it to OT, win there, and that only puts them 1 map ahead in the series. It's a long road for them, but they've done a lot of the legwork. This buy round right here could be the thing that finishes it off. The pressure is definitely on for them. And you can see that they're going to commit that drone, as expensive as it is, to the early round, and it doesn't see Jusu up above. Elsewhere, they've dealt with Hype, and now Cadaver's down. Leftovers, they're looking good. Oh, but Amp, he can't get away.
Yeah, good read from Jusu on where he was going to peek. The thing is, though, the control that's been garnered elsewhere for Leftovers, this is worrying. I feel like when an attacking side takes full control of Kitchen without much knowledge from the opposing side, it can be quite difficult. It seems like Lucka has a decent idea now, at least of where they're going to be peaking, but Goff could just catch him with his pants. What a reaction shot from Lucka, though, and he's going to lock himself into the corner. He knows now that they've lost Kitchen control, but how did he get that shot?
Well, we'll be asking that question for a while, and I know that Leftovers certainly will. That's going to be Alliance walking away with a 13-10, winning out Icebox and maintaining as a dominant force on this map. This is something that we warned of coming in, that Alliance have long been an incredibly strong team on Icebox, but Leftovers made it pretty damn close, Tom.
Yeah, no, that was an impressive display from them, to say the least. Like, I think going into this, you have to put Alliance as heavy favorites. Like, they've been picking up different players here and there. They've got a couple that we consider to be like star level players as well.